am Human Services.
I am Human Services.
I am Human Services.
We are Human Services.
I am Human Services.
I think I kind of just fell into it. I was teaching graduate students in counseling and ended up at a university that happened to have a human services degree, and I started teaching in that program and just found that I loved it. And very different focus than the graduate program. And so I started to get more and more involved with it, and I found out about NOS, and at that time called NOSI, which is kind of a strange name. So I'm glad they changed the name to NOS, and I've just been involved for the last 25 years.
And actually, I fell into it too.
Yeah.
I was in counseling and moved to Knoxville, and there was a job that was open. And so when I interviewed for the job, I didn't really know what it was.
Right.
So you go for an interview and you just listen really hard to what people are saying so that you can get an idea of what you're possibly interviewing for. And I'm like you, I loved it. And part of the reason I really liked it was the flexibility and the focus on frontline work.
Right.
And in our program, it was very much a bootstrap program where we had a lot of first-generation students.
I've heard them also.
And I think where I really connected both was with undergraduates and also just the basic values.
Something special about first-generation students that is very different than other students.
Right. They're very appreciative and they're really clear about why they want to be there.
Right.
And I think probably in your program too, we had a lot of students who came into the program late because they weren't sure what they wanted, and the minute they found human services, they felt like they had found what matched them.
Sparkman. I've been in the field of human services for about 16 years, and I've worked with various populations all across the Metro Detroit area. So I'm from Michigan. I've worked in addiction, emotional abuse, teens, foster care system, worked with friend of court, I've done job placement, so I've done just about everything there is to do in the field of human services. So while I was in the field, Human Services basically embraced me. As a kid, I used to work during the summers through a compact program, and I would always work with diverse populations. I've worked in an addiction home, watching the babies while parents were receiving methadone treatment. So that started me into the field of human services. We didn't have the title human services then. So I went on and I got a bachelor's degree from Madonna University in sociology. I got a master's degree from University of Michigan in liberal studies because I was trying to make my whole human services bridge together. So I embraced everything from anthropology, psychology, sociology in one degree. And then I went on and I decided that basically the field of human services, I was outgrowing it. I had worked with every population. I've done just about everything. And I wanted to expand a little bit more and actually get into teaching in the field. So I started teaching adjunct. And after teaching adjunct, I fell in love. But I knew in order to advance, I had to have a PhD. So I went on to Capella University to get my PhD, and the faculty there basically embraced me and told me about different things. They told me about National Organization of Human Services and how I should get involved. They told me that I should present at conferences and just meeting different people, networking. I met Melissa. I went to the MOSAIC conference. I did a presentation there and got involved more in the human services field and on the organization level with the human services. So after after that, I continued on. I was working on the MOS board at that point, working on this PhD. I'm a single mother with 2 kids. I worked full-time and taught adjunct and worked on the PhD. People always ask how did I do that. I don't even know how I did that, but I did it. So whatever you put your mind to, you can basically do it if you work hard towards it. So I did that. And so while I'm in this field, working full-time, I was laid off. Our human services department in Detroit closed. And so I was laid off in July of last year, and I said, okay, I have to finish this PhD. It was rushed to finish. So that PhD became my full-time employment. I basically worked on that, collecting data, finishing it up. So I started finishing things up. I had a 4.0 GPA. I applied at that point for the National Organization of Human Services Outstanding Student Award. I won the award. So when they contacted me to say, okay, you won this award, somehow it came up that I wasn't working. And the lady at the time was at Old Dominion University, and she said, well, we're looking for people. But she never told me where they were looking for them, where the posting was, or anything like that. So I did some research, went through NOS, went through the job site being a member, and saw the posting for the position. I applied for the position. All this time, I'm still finishing up this PhD process. I don't have it yet, and you have to have it for this position. So they contacted me for an interview in October of last year. I came to Norfolk, Virginia, had never heard of it, had never been there. I interviewed, the interview went well, and the week that I was defending my dissertation, which means the PhD was done at that point, I received a phone call the Wednesday before my defense offering me the position at Old Dominion University. And I accepted that position.
Peace be unto you. Hello, I'm MOSAIC Rashid, your host for Human Service News and Information. It's excellent being here with you, and it's such a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here weekly at Cctv. So with that, once again, I welcome you with the greetings of peace and sanity. Hey, I guess, well, I don't know. Okay, let me start with the video. The video is the contribution from the National Organization of Human Services. And this organization, I want to tell you a little bit about it, but first I'd like to remind you that their convention is coming up in October. I think it's October. That's down in Tampa, Florida. So if you're interested in human service affairs, this is the place to be in October. That's the National Organization of Human Services and their convention, or well, rather their 2016 annual conference is being held in Tampa Bay this year, and you're going to be hearing more about that at Human Service News and Information. And I'd also like to remind you that the woman talked about all the degrees that she received or earned in human services. Well, I tell you, the National Organization of Human Services, they have a huge or a hefty scholarship program. If your major is human services, whether you take a major in human services as an undergraduate, a graduate, or you're doing doctoral studies in human services, they have a hefty scholarship to help you along with your studies. So you should check that out too. That's NOHS.org. That's their website, and they'll be offering that scholarship to all of you who are thinking about going back to school and majoring in human service. There's help out there for you. That's what I want to say. Okay, the news, or the great, the most active buzz around here at CCTV is the news that is getting near for the annual Backlot Barbecue. Okay, that's the annual Backlot Barbecue, and it's closer than ever. That's September 22nd, and next thing you know, it'll be Backlot Barbecue time. All of the CCTVs online personalities, they'll be there. And also, a lot of folks from behind the scenes at CCTV, they'll be all participating in this year's 2016 annual Backlot Barbecue. So if you want to come out and meet some of those folks in person, I advise you to check it out. There's still time for registration. Get your tickets right up front or ahead of time. You can call Clota Drummy 617-40405. Once again, that's Clota Drummy 617-401-4005. Or you can email Clota Drummy and inquire about tickets. Maybe if you want to volunteer for this event, I'm sure they'll help you out there too. That's CLODAGH at cctvcambridge.org. That's CLODAGH at cctvcambridge.org. And once again, if you'd like to call, that's 617-401-4005. That's the annual Backlot Barbecue. That's all they're talking about here now. Okay, there's a flea market. There's a flea market. Since we're talking about local events here, there's a flea market, annual flea market that's held at MIT. And it's a computer, electronics, and ham radio flea market. So the next time that this event they just held this flea market on the 21st, but I'm sorry we couldn't get that to you. But the next one is September 18th, October 16th, 2016. That's the flea market all summer at MIT. And it's sponsored by the Harvard Wireless Club, the MIT Electronic Research Society, the MIT UHF Repeater Association, and the MIT Radio Society. So that's if you'd like the more information about this computer electronic ham radio flea market at MIT, you can go to their website. That's www.swapfest.us. Once again, that's www.swapfest.usa. And for additional information, if you'd like to call, you can call 617-253-3776. That's 617-253-3776. That's the flea market at MIT, computers, electronic, ham radios, and it's all there for you, so you check it out. That's website once again is a seller's discount, advanced registration too. Okay, that's check out our website. That's www.swapfest.usa. Okay, Commonwealth Connect. Cambridge wants to hear from you about the Commonwealth Connect. Makes it easy to engage with your city. That's a Commonwealth Connect makes it much easier for you to engage with your city. That's report issues in Cambridge, graffiti, potholes, bike racks issues, upload photos or problems, find and comment on issues submitted by your neighbors, receive updates and more. That's download the Commonwealth Connect mobile app today or access it on the city's website. That's a cambridgema.gov/report issues. That's cambridgema.gov/report issues. So if you see anything going on out there and you want to bring it to someone's attention, this is for you. That's Commonwealth Connect. That's Commonwealth Connects make it easy for you to engage with your city. Once again, that's cambridgema.gov/report issues. Okay, yesterday I went by the City Hall and I talked to a gentleman who's coming out to City Hall. I said, "What's going on today?" He says, well, it's a CPA committee meeting. That's the Cambridge Preservation Act committee meeting. And I have a flyer here that says this committee meeting is supposed to be held Tuesday, August 25th. And it was held yesterday. And yesterday was Tuesday, August 24th. Okay. So today is the 25th, and so this flyer isn't right. So the thing is, if you'd like additional information and if you're intended to go to this meeting, well, you can call 617-349-4221. That's a 617-349-4221, and ask them, is this meeting going to be held Thursday or was it held Tuesday? So there's this little conflict in this flyer. Okay, right now I want to tell you about, all summer we've been hearing about criminal justice issues as they relate to Black Lives Matter, the police, and all these controversial police shootings, and this is a criminal justice issue. And I want to share a video with you that a professor at the Northeastern University came out, and he came forward and offered some insight on criminal justice, and it applies to the community, the police, and everyone else involved in all this Ferguson, Baltimore civil unrest that we've been experiencing. So this should shed some light on the issue, and so help you to sort it out. Help you to analyze and process what's going on here, criminal justice wise. Okay. I'm going to try to get this error on here for you. Okay, here we go. Professor at MIT, Michael Davis, rather. Here we go.
I really spoke about two things related to procedural justice. One is how to really institute it into organizations. A lot of times we talk a lot about theories, a lot about new ideas, but very little about the conditions by which those ideas can be applied within organizations. And in this case, it's really about making sure that procedural justice, or the tenets of it, the experience of it, exists within a police organization. How are people being treated? How do they perceive they're being treated? And are we really getting the most out of our officers in terms of leveraging their strengths, talents, and abilities? That was the first half of what I said. The second was about really defining what procedural justice is at its core, which is really us believing that everyone has equal intrinsic value. When you start with that premise, right, things just flow a little bit better, right? The idea of it makes a lot more sense, right? And it explains a lot in communities. It explains a lot in police organizations. Because what we mean by equal intrinsic value is not just you as a human being, what you mean here on earth, but it's really about your value to society, your value to an organization. It's that perception that I think shapes a lot of decisions and a lot of encounters, both inside the organization and out.
Okay, that's a little snippet of a criminal justice presentation by Professor Michael Davis at Northeastern University. Okay, and you see, you're probably wondering why I played that. You said, well, this is a criminal justice issue. This is all about criminal justice. Well, criminal justice falls under the human service umbrella. It's one area that falls under the human service umbrella. So all criminal justice issues are a part of the human service MOSAIC. Okay. All right. Okay, we're going to try to get back to some more of that video, but right now I'd like to remind you that the produce are all in season now. Midsummer produce, or what do you want to say, late summer produce, they're all at the Cambridge Farmers Market. So now is the time to go out and get some of these produce, especially if you like to can things and preserve things and set things aside for later days. All the fresh vegetables in the world is right there, and that's the place where you should be. Okay, there's a Charles Square's Farmers Market at the Charles Squares. They're there on Sundays. There's a Monday right here at Central Square. There's Bishop Allen Drive, Norfolk, noon to 6 p.m. Monday, and it's at noon to 6 p.m. Tuesday, Agassi, Harvard University Farmers Market. Wednesday, Kendall Square. Today, they're at Kendall Square Farmers Market. It's Main Street near Kendall Square, MIT MBTA station. And they'll be there to 6 p.m. Kendall Square Farmers Market 5 Kendall Street on Thursday, and on Friday they're back at Harvard Square Farmers Market. Okay, that's Charles Hotel, Courtyard 1 Bennett Street, and Saturday in Cambridgeport Farmers Market, Moore School parking lot, Magazine Street at Memorial Drive, Davis. So all the fresh produce in the world is right there, and at the Cambridge Farmers Market. So you participate more in visiting these folks at the Cambridge Farmers Market. They're good people. Okay, another thing I'd like to remind you that Have you ever heard of Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes? Well, unfortunately, the late and great Harold Melvin passed away, I think, last year. But his Blue Notes, the band that recorded behind him, the band that recorded behind Teddy Pendergrass and a lot of other folks, they'll be at the Boston City Hall Plaza performing, and they start at 6:30 and they go into to the late evening hours. So if you're interested in that kind of music, it's a place to be. Boston City Hall Plaza at 6:30 p.m. Okay, and see the late and great Harold Melvin Blue Notes band. Okay, they'll be playing. And someone told me to pass that along to you, so I did. Getting back to the National Organization of Human Services, and they're providing college scholarships. I want to throw that in, so you check them out. NOHS.org. That's your website to connect with the information that you need to apply for a college scholarship. Okay, the national organization has advocacy principles. Advocacy is one of the areas also that falls under the human service umbrella. Let me tell you a little bit about the advocacy principles. Okay, analyzing and searching the problem, preparing an argument with supportive evidence, taking a stance by presenting an argument that would lead to change, composing and revising the argument, practicing and refining the argument, evaluating the effectiveness of advocacy. So the National Organization of Human Service members advocacy interests are. So if they're advocating, and these are some of the things that they're advocating for: senior citizens, child abuse, poverty, homelessness, human service as a profession, the HSBCP credentials, lesbian, gay, bisexual, transgender and intersex rights, human trafficking, social injustice, mental health, domestic violence, and a lot of those areas, I've covered on this program right here, human service news and information. So you stay tuned, and we're going to definitely go into those issues and those areas of interest even a little bit deeper. But 55, what can you do in 25 minutes? You can just do and put off and cancel things and delay things, or just schedule things for another time. I'd like to remind you once again that the late and great Harold Melvin and the Blue Notes band will be performing at the City Hall Plaza today, 6:30 on into the late evening. Okay, so they're at 6:30 City Hall Plaza. They wanted me to pass that along to you. And with that, I like to say I'm Hassan Rashid. It's always excellent being here with you, and it's also always a great achievement to come into your lives like we do here. So with that, I leave you with the fact that you should keep your nose clean, play it straight, and don't forget to assist someone in need of your help. Okay, let's try to get back to that other video on human service. I promise you.
Friday, I defended my dissertation, and from that day on, I was packing and moving. I moved over the Christmas holidays to Virginia, started in January of 2013 as assistant professor of human services at Old Dominion University.
Yeah, sorry about that. We had a little technical difficulty. I tried to get several videos on for you, but I'd like to remind you now, next week, we're going to be talking about the 27th Annual Muslim Convention that's happening in Chicago at Tinley Park Convention Center. That's the MOSAIC, the Ministry of the late and great Imam Wardeen Muhammad. And they'll be having their annual convention. I hear that they have a fashion show that will turn your eyes, okay, or something like that. But that's just one of the things that are being offered there. But if you like additional information, you can go to WD Muhammad Ministry CBCglobal.net, or you can go to moscares.com, moscares.org, and you can find out the information that you need to visit the 27th Annual Muslim Convention. That is if you're taking your vacation, late vacation, out in the Midwest area of Chicago. Okay, let's see if we can get this criminal justice video back on here for you one more time before you leave. And I leave you with the international greetings of peace and sanity.
I really spoke about two things related to procedural justice. One is how to really institute it into organizations. A lot of times we talk a lot about theories, a lot about new ideas, but very little about the conditions by which those ideas can be applied within organizations. And in this case, it's really about making sure that procedural justice, or the tenets of it, the experience of it, exists within a police organization. How are people being treated? How do they perceive they're being treated? And are we really getting the most out of our officers in terms of leveraging their strengths, talents, and abilities? That was the first half of what I said. The second was about really defining what procedural justice is at its core, which is really us believing that everyone has equal intrinsic value. When you start with that premise, right, things just flow a little bit better, right? The idea of it makes a lot more sense, right? And it explains a lot in communities. It explains a lot in police organizations. Because what we mean by equal intrinsic value is not just you as a human being, what you mean here on earth, but it's really